Okay, we're recording now. So 10%, what do? We
30.
divide by 10. When you divide by 10, you either remove a 0, you move this 1.1 place to the left. 25%. To work out 25%, what do? We divide by 4, because 25% is a quarter. 50%, what do? We divide it by
2. No. Divide by 50.
divided by 2, because 50% is a half. You don't divide by 50. Okay, now, in order for us to work out 15%, what do we work out first? We first will work out
The 10.
10%, and then after we worked out 10%,
We
half that, we work out
the
5%.
Yeah.
So 10%, how do we work out 10%? We divide it by
5.
10. 10% is divided by 10. And to work out 5%, we divide this answer, the 10% answer, by
5.
2. Because 5 is half of 10. We don't divide it by 5. Yeah? So let's do some questions now. Yeah, close the door, please. So we got to work out 10% of 400. What do? We divide it by
2.
10. So that gives us
40.
40. I want to work out 25% of 600. So what do we do to it? We divide it by 4. Oh, there we go. Okay, 15%. How do we work out 15%? Say we want to work out 15% of different color. So we are going to work out 15% of, let's choose a nice number first, 15%. 720. Just about squeeze that in. What do we do first? First of all, we work out 10% by removing the
0.
That's 10% of 720, we divide it by 10, that gives you 72. Now we've got to work out
5%.
5%. Now 5% is half of 10%. So we've got to half the 72.
That is 1.
36. Now, in order to work out the 15% number that we need, we add 10% of 5%, and then we add the 72 and the 36. So 72 and 36 will give us 108. So we break down the number down into small pieces. Okay? That's the answer so far. Now, let's do some more questions based on that. So let's delete the page. So let's do now 30%, 45%, and my favorite one, 17.5%. So, here we go. We're going to work out in the first question 30% of 180. So, Mr. Bilal, how do we start off this question? First of all, what we do, we work out 10%. So 10%, what do we do? Divided by 10, that gives us an answer of 18. Now I want to get to 30%, so what do we do? 10%, what do we do to it? Times by 3. 10 times by 3 is 30. What we do to the left, we do to the
Right.
right. So 8 times by 3 will give you 24. 1 times by 3 add 2 is 54. So 30% of 180 is equal to 54. That's the way we do it. So we break the number down 30% to 10%, we triple it, gives us 30%. Okay, now we've got to work out 45%. So we're going to work out 45% of 600, for example. Okay, Moise, lead me through this one. First of all, we start with
45%.
10%. So 600 divided by 10 is 60. 10% of 600 is 1/10 of it, which is 60. Now I want to get to 45%. So first of all, I can get up to 40% by multiplying it by 4. That's one step that we can do at the beginning. So 10 times by 4 is 60 times by 4 is
214.
now we need another 5%, don't we?
Yeah.
So how do we get from 10% to 5%? What do we do?
Divided by 2.
Divided by 2. 60 divided by 2 is?
30.
So 40 at 5 is? 240 at 30 is? 270. Do you understand what we're doing now? It's making sense how you're breaking the numbers down into bonds and stuff. Okay, next one. 17.5% of 88. What do we do first? First of all, we work out 10%. What's 10% of 88?
8.
8.8 divided by 10. Then we work out 5%, which is half of 10%. Half 8.8 is? Then we would do 2.5%, which is half of 5%. And half of 4.4 is?
2.2.
So all of these added together gives us what?
17.5.
And all this added together will give you?
40. 15.4.
15.4 is the answer. Get all that down.
Yep.
I'm going to give you questions to try now.
Do we
What you about said, Bilal? I didn't catch you.
I don't know.
You about said, do we have to do the questions?
Yeah.
So you're going to learn the topic without doing the questions.
No,
MashaAllah.
I'll just say, do you have to do that kind of thing though, the lines?
No, you don't do that. That's just me, how I set my work out. But you need to show this stuff, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? So here comes your questions.
You put a note on it.
Okay. I want you to work out 25% of 400, 10% of 300, 40% of 600, 50% of 700, 25% of 880, 10% of 126, 40% of 126, 50% of 126, sorry, we'll do, and 70% of 600. There's some questions for you to try. Do them now in your books. I'll come and walk around for you with this help.